on Shallowford Road.
A couple of months ago, we had on the show FaceTiming with us Vita Zagorodny, who has a company in town called Posture Solutions Therapy. We loved her. We all sat up straight for a little while anyway, so it's a thrill for us to have her back on the show, this time outside on our deck. Great to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
So this conversation that we're going to have is going to be beneficial for anyone watching, first of all, whether you are 9 or 90. You can benefit from what you're going to share with us, and you are going to share with us as we talk. You're going to kind of walk me and our audience through some exercises that we can do.
Yes, definitely. Because posture is, and I've mentioned this before, maybe I'm repeating myself, but posture isn't necessarily just about sitting up tall or standing up straight. It's figuring out why your structure is in a slump, I guess. Most people are just kind of relate to that more because a lot of that rounded shoulders, especially the tech neck we're having these days.
Right.
Everyone's on their screens, and it's just part of our lifestyle. So we can't really get away from it, but we can teach our bodies to be okay during any action and movement. And so that's what I'm here to do.
Okay,
to show you today.
So I purposely did something because I've been watching you, Vita, and I purposely did not mimic you prior to starting the interview so that you could correct me on the air for everyone to see. Look at her posture. Look how she's sitting. You don't have your legs crossed.
No.
I have my legs crossed, and my back hurts.
Yep.
If I will not cross my legs as often, I bet my lower back is going to get strengthened. Is that true?
That is actually correct. I'm glad you brought that up because crossing your legs, a lot of people do it as a defense mechanism. Well, most of it's just because it's a style thing or whatever it may be, but sometimes people even do that because they have pain in their back, and when you cross your leg over, you shift your hip, and so you can take weight off of maybe the pelvic area and decrease that weight distribution into the area. But really, it forces your femurs to pull out of that correct alignment inside the hip, and your hips are no longer stable. So once again, you're putting more weight on one side than the other, and if you've got already a deviation in your pelvis, you're just making it stronger, reiterating every time you cross your leg over.
Okay, we could do the full hour with you, but that ends up then meaning if your hips are going to become less stable, does that mean as you age, you're more prone to fall?
Yep.
Okay.
Your balance will be off, and what also happens when your hips are less stable, you're more prone to use your upper body, and that's why so many of us, as we age, become very rounded and head forward position because there's no stability coming from the pelvic area, and so you use your arms to pull you out of a chair or up the stairs versus using your hips.
So as we talk, a couple of points I'd like to make, and you again correct me if I'm wrong. So obviously the vanity side of things, you're just going to stand up straight, just makes you look better, right? You are going to feel better. Am I right, however, that if your posture is correct, you think better?
Yes. Posture fixes everything.
It does.
Correct posture. Really, because, I mean, posture is our housing structure. I mean, you can't get away from your body and its movements. Everything internally is affected. And so increasing, putting your head back into proper alignment, pulling the shoulders back properly increases oxygen blood flow to the brain, and so it gives you more clear-headed and gives you more confidence too.
If you notice, you look around you at the people in your life who you might, or people you admire who are successful, and there seems to be kind of this constant trend where they look good, they hold themselves well, they walk correctly, all that kind of stuff, and they didn't get the success because of how they look. The correct alignment gave them, like you said, that confidence. And that's a generalization, but it's relatively true.
It really is. It really is. I mean, you always hear talk about people who are not as happy or depressed or more slouchy, and obviously there's truth to that. But if your posture is correct and you're moving properly and you're more upright, then you're not in pain.
Right.
Right. And so you are more confident to go out there and get that job or get that or start that new business or go on that
friend.
hike. Yeah. Or go take your kids somewhere because you're not worried that, oh my goodness, there's stairs. I don't know if I can do those.
Right.
Or, now I have to go up and down or get in and out of a car and it's a low car. People start to retrain their life around them to help their body versus create change in your body, and everything around you could do.
So you have a lot of training. You went to school at Georgia State, then you continued that on with training in the Atlanta area. So you have a lot of certification and specialty in the field. You've brought with you something that you're going to kind of put me through right away.
Yeah, this is just a regular yoga block, but anyone watching at home, you could grab a couch pillow or stuffed animal, I don't know, just
Okay.
whatever laying around that gives you some kind of resistance.
Okay.
I use these a lot because it helps. We're going to use it to put it between your knees, but it really helps us to create that proper hip separation between the legs. You know, you're not sitting like this and doing that exercise.
Okay.
Because any exercise I take anyone through, I always make sure that everything is aligned while you're doing the
Okay.
exercise.
All right.
And so this one pertains to sitting. We just talked about that. I know a lot of people are sitting at work and they're always wondering, how can I sit up properly at work? So maybe we can have you sit sideways to the audience.
Okay.
And obviously if you're sitting at home, you probably will have your feet on the floor
Okay.
in a regular chair, so your feet will be flat. We're just a little different here.
Okay.
But if you go into just a regular slouch, this is us. This is normal, right?
This is me at the computer. Okay.
And mostly when I say to people, sit up tall, they'll just kind of do this, right?
That's what I would do, yeah.
You push your chest up. But you're teaching your body that you lead with your upper body. But you
Okay.
need to teach your body to lead with your hips.
Okay.
So you're going back into the slouch.
Okay.
And I know you've got your microphone, but switch
That's okay.
hands. So I
Okay.
want you to put your hand on the side of your pelvis there. You feel the bones?
Yeah.
We're gonna roll those forward.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like that. Do you see how your upper body follows?
Yes.
So now you're training that you lead with your hips, your torso follows.
Kind of like how you pick up a box a certain way.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So now you're sitting up tall correctly. Your
Okay.
weight distribution is where you go. When you go to get out of the chair, if you're sitting up tall with your hips, you use your hips to get up. If you're sitting up tall with your chest, you're going to try to use your chest to come
So
up.
if I'm going to get up, I don't want to get up like that. I want to get up, well, it's harder in this,
Yeah.
but that way.
Yes.
Okay.
So I always encourage anyone, if you're sitting for a long time, before you stand up, roll your hips forward and then use yourself to stand up. You're leading with your hip.
Okay.
So the yoga block,
This way or this way?
the way you just had it.
This way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, you normally would have your feet on the floor. We're just a little more elevated. But
Okay.
we sit up tall like I taught you, and that block is between your knees, and you're just squeezing and releasing the pillow or the yoga block or whatever
Okay.
you've got.
That is a lot of resistance.
Yeah. Do you feel that working on the inside of your
Yeah,
legs?
I do.
Yeah.
And
So
what's that doing? That's strengthening my femur?
strengthening your hip flexor muscles, the muscle that helps you lift your leg bone when you walk, which is
Okay.
a very important aspect, because if that muscle works correctly, your hips can work correctly as well. So
Okay.
you feel a lot of inside work,
Yeah,
quad
so
work.
I notice when I stand up, I tend to always do, I'm going to get up for a second. I do the girl move. When I stand up, instead of standing like this over time, I end up
Yeah.
doing this. Is that because my hips are not strong?
Yes, that's because our body has to have proper weight distribution from our ear, shoulder, hip, knee, down into the ankle.
Uh-huh.
If your structure is off, your body weight won't distribute correctly.
So I need to have my ears
offload.
over my shoulders, right? Okay.
You actually look like your hips shift forward slightly.
I think they do.
And so because of that, it takes a lot of pressure to stand, and this makes it a lot easier.
So would this help my hips to not shift forward so
Yes,
much?
so doing like 60 pillow squeezes every single day in a chair the way I showed you will definitely make a big difference for your hip.
And that ends up causing some of my low back pain,
Yep,
correct?
exactly. When your hips shift forward, that's a lot of pressure on that lower spine.
Okay. All right, so we're standing up. What do you want to do now?
I'm going to show you another thing you can do. Also, it's very simple. You don't even need a prop for this, but if you don't mind laying your microphone down and facing the audience. So we're going to look down at the feet, make sure those are super straight, pointed forward. That's another thing too. Your brain will think it's straight, but really you have to look down. Yeah, no. Okay. And we're going to bend our fingers like this into your palms, both of them. Put your arms straight out completely. Palms are facing to the floor. And then think of your shoulder blades as holding something between them. You're squeezing them together and keep those arms in extension. Yep. And now you're going to circle towards the camera. Nope, like this. Yep, circling. Exactly. Yep, just like that. So we're creating a lot of thoracic work at the top here, and that works its way down into the pelvic area. So even though we're doing a shoulder exercise, we're working on hip stability at the same time. You should start to feel all that up there in your arms. Okay, make your arm, and see, after a while, they're starting to come forward.
And that's not good.
No, that's just telling us that the work doesn't want to come from the back. It'd rather go back into that rounded position that it's used to.
Okay, we've got 2 minutes.
You can go ahead and relax.
Okay.
All right, and then one more thing. We'll do one more exercise. We did this one on the last show. Bend your fingers in. We're going to put them to the side of the face. Yep, the elbow curls. Okay. And you're going to rotate in and out. And do 25 of those. Well, not right now, but eventually.
Okay, so I'm going to stop a minute and get my microphone.
Yeah.
So in the minute and a half that we have left, here's what I think I remember. Obviously, the instruction that you do is in person, one-on-one, where you can do with your clients what you just did with me, because if you're trying to do this on your own, you don't know
Right.
that your arms are coming in, right?
Exactly.
But your goal is to teach people so that eventually they can do it on their
Yes. Teach people to where they do it on their own, and so it's a life skill. I'm trying to get you to retrain your muscle, your function, your movement, to where you go home, you do this, and it becomes a long-term thing, and you have it for the rest of your life.
own. Okay, so this is going to be beneficial. I'll say it again, but for kids, young kids, even elementary kids have
Right.
got that phone neck, and on the story goes. Your teenagers, I don't even have to tell you about your
Yeah,
teenagers.
exactly.
But if you are somebody getting older, or you have a parent who's getting older, what a great way to protect them
Yep.
in
Preventative
those senior
care.
years.
Exactly.
So how do people get in touch with you, Vita, and are you doing it in any way remotely, or is it all face-to-face?
I do both. I do remotely. I do face-to-face at the studio in North Georgia, Mune Studio, and you can get in touch with me through my website.
Okay, she is, I'm telling you, you're going to love her. She is so delightful. It's called Posture Solutions Therapy. Her phone number, web address, and location there on your screen. And you, too, can be doing those, what'd you call them?
Elbow curls.
Elbow curls before you know it. Thank you.
Thank you.